So this week was a good week for me. I got a new client. I've been making a lot of progress in my business. I feel like things are taking off, and the majority of the week I was on a pretty big high, feeling pretty good. And then the weekend happened. I went out to celebrate my new client and the progress that I made, and I went out with a couple of my friends who are also entrepreneurs, and we had a great time, and it was really nice. And I couldn't keep these thoughts away during our interactions in the evening while they were sharing some of, where they're at and what they're doing, and while feeling really happy for them and feeling like, wow, this is great that we're all in it together, somehow I also started to really think about, oh, they're so much farther ahead than I am, and they're so much younger than I am, and they're seeing such great success at a much earlier age, and feeling very proud of them and feeling very bad for me. When I got home, I tried to just sort of push away those thoughts and be like, okay, well, I don't want to go there. Let's not go there. And then the next day, on Saturday, I needed to reconcile my books. And that's a project I never really look forward to. I don't have a really great relationship with numbers, and we never really got along. My mind just doesn't think well in numbers. My brain doesn't work that way. And so it's a lot of energy to do something like balance my books. And then on top of it, already in this period, in this feeling of, oh, I'm not as far as I want to be, and then looking at my books in that light became quite discouraging, and the numbers are not where I want them to be. They're not anywhere near where I really need them to be, and it was overall a discouraging and somewhat panic-inducing exercise. And whenever I'm in that nothing's enough, it's funny because then everything seems to come up, all the areas that I am not enough in. And it's funny because cleaning always really is present for me. The laundry isn't done, the house isn't, the car hasn't been washed in weeks, the floor needs to be vacuumed, and heaven forbid anyone should look under the kitchen sink. And then it starts, it starts with one little thing, and then it starts piling one on top of the other until I just feel overwhelmed with every single area of my life that I'm not good enough in, that I'm not as far enough along as I want to be, and it just sucks so bad. And what happens when that happens to me is the next thing that happens is my body revolts, really, is what happens. And usually in the form of my getting a really bad stomachache, the kind of stomachache that lands me in bed for several hours in a lot of pain. And that's what happened yesterday afternoon. I was in bed, and then when I'm in bed in pain, I'm like, see, now I can't even do anything that I needed or wanted to do because now I'm here in bed. So really not a good place in my head, not a good place to be. And this morning, instead of jumping up, I just gave myself a little time. I rested, and I read a little bit of Brene Brown's Daring Greatly book, which I ordered at the library some months ago, and yesterday it finally was available for pickup, so I picked it up. And I didn't really get much past the first page, but that was good enough for me. And I love the she gets the quote, the title from her book, Daring Greatly, from Theodore Roosevelt's speech, Citizenship in a Republic. And it's such a great speech, this passage, and I've read it before, and it's meant a lot to me before, but somehow today it helped me to realize that I'm in this arena of starting a business. And sometimes when I have a win, it feels pretty great. I'm on a big high, and I feel like on top of the world, and it's just like the best place to be. And then other times when I'm, out for the count, and it feels like this. And it feels like crap, quite frankly. And the decision that I am then faced with is, am I going to remove myself from the arena off into the sidelines and be one of those critics? Or am I going to realize that being in the arena is an experience that encompasses all of these things, the highs, the lows, the wins, the losses, the times it feels great, the times it feels like crap. And am I just going to accept that this is where I am today, pick myself up, dust myself off, and keep going from right where I am and from right how I feel? So let me read you this clip. It's just fantastic. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasm, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly.